Don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell and be the first to know when we drop a new video. Like and share with your fellow American patriots who love this country. And if you haven't even an American patriot, you are someone who believe and love freedom, love democracy, truth, and don't like corruption, hit the subscription button.
Living in all Muslim countries, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Turkey, Iran. Iran is the greatest enemy of Israel. In Iran, they're leaving 35,000 Jews. They don't know what anti-Semitism is. They never experienced that. They have a golden life there. In my area, we're living together with the Muslim neighbors. Such a good relationship. All our cabs, the minicab drivers, are Muslims. We're sending the small children of 2-3 years to the playgroups with the Muslim drivers. I never had any problem. All of this proves this is not a problem of the religion. The problem is the occupation. The problem is the genocide. And that should end. And it's wrong. Everybody can see Jews living.
Yeah, so we live in our world where truth has been twisted into lies and wickedness is dressed up and sold to us as love. A world where those with the wealth, influence and power to make it better instead use their position to sow division, incite chaos and exploit the vulnerable, all while robbing, cheating, lying and committing crimes of a scale and depravity humanity has rarely seen before. In our time, these are not merely petty wrongs, they are systemic, deliberate acts of cruelty, oppression, and deception, engineered to maintain their grip and power on wealth. Yet they masquerade as benefactors, draping themselves in the language of human rights and progress, while their actions speak the volume of wickedness, the language of greed and destruction. And nowhere is this hypocrisy more visible than in the plight of the Palestinian people, a nation enduring one of the most sustained and blatant genocides of our time, live, while they lie everything, even children. If you have any decency or love inside of you, or any love for humanity, your heart will pain you when you see these little children losing limbs, their lives, being killed just to get food to eat in 2025. And then people talking about this world is a just world. It's not a just world. What kind of child did to an army, to a people, because these people wanted their land? We see it unfolded daily before our very eyes, not on the sanitized screens of mainstream media, which conveniently ignore or distort their suffering, but through the courageous reporting of independent journalists who risk everything to show the world the truth from within Palestinian territory, Palestine itself. These images and testimonies reveal a grim reality. Palestinians are treated as though they have no rights, no humanity, no claim to dignity or justice. What does that mean? Is just wickedness. Wickedness on a scale I've never seen before by this world. They are bombed in their homes, starved in the streets, and silenced when they dare to speak. Their plight exposes not only the brutality of those who oppress them, but also the moral bankruptcy of those who stand by and do nothing, or worse, who justify their atrocities. What, these lives doesn't matter? And behind this machinery of oppression, if you trace it far enough, you find the fingerprints of history's most cunning and unconscionable architects of imperialism. The British Empire, the epitome of evil disguised as civilization, carve up lands that were not theirs, pitted people against each other, against one another, and planted the seed of endless conflicts to serve their own self-interest. The suffering of Palestine, rooted in those dark deeds and the legacy of British duplicity and greed, still poison the earth. But on this is vital to remember: injustice cannot reign forever. The oppressed may be silent for a season, but history shows that truth and justice have a way of rising up unstoppable, even against the greatest powers. One day, one by one, the poor, the disenfranchised, and the Palestinian people will see justice served. One day, those who have orchestrated the suffering, who have robbed, slaughtered, and clothed their evil in false virtue, will have to answer, not only to humanity, but to history itself, and perhaps something greater still, the power of God. Until then, it's up to us, those who refuse to accept lies as truth and wickedness as love, to stand in solidarity with the oppressed, to speak the truth even when it's inconvenient, and to shine a light where others prefer darkness. For the world cannot heal until truth is spoken, and it cannot change until justice is done. And justice, though delay, is inevitable. You have to understand, the epidemic of evil, wickedness, lies, criminality, terrorism is the United States of America. You don't want nothing. January 6th was that day that them stamp of approval for the world. The 6 people in the Supreme Court, though I call them the Supreme Terrorists. Let us pause and examine this contradiction with clarity and honesty. How can you run a regime that loudly declare its desire to wipe Israel off the map and speak chilling tones about eliminating Jews from the face of the earth? At the same time, same Israel in them at all. At the same time, Israel, Jews, 35,000 Jews living within its own borders. At the same time, the host, one of the largest Jewish communities in the Middle East outside of Israel, around 35,000 Jews living within its own borders. This reality alone exposes the oversimplification and propaganda embedded in Iran's rhetoric and in the way others frame the narrative about Iran. If the Iranian leadership truly intended to exterminate every Jew on the planet, as it often claimed, why does it tolerate, even protect a significant Jewish population at home? Why do these Jews have synagogues, schools, representation in parliament, and even serve as advisors, and in some documented cases as part of the intelligence apparatus? In fact, Iranian Jews are granted a guaranteed seat in the Iranian majlis, parliament, and their synagogues remain active and secure. This does not mean that life is perfect or free of discrimination, far from it. But it does undermine the crude notion that the regime ideological hostilities aim indiscriminately at all Jews. Instead, what Iran opposes, rightly or wrongly, is the political state of Israel and Zionism as they interpret it, not Judaism or Jewish people per se. Moreover, the claim that some Iranian Jews have served as spies or have held influential roles within the government highlights another uncomfortable truth. The situation is more complex than the black and white character we are often fed. Some Iranian Jews have chosen to work with the state, either out of loyalty to Iran, pragmatism, or self-preservation, demonstrating that the Iranian society is capable of distinguishing between Jews as a people and Israel as a nation state. So, before swallowing the simplistic narrative that Iran wants to kill every Jews on earth, we must ask, why does Iran continue to allow tens of thousands of Jews to live there openly? Where on earth would the enemy allow to live within the borders? Why are there active synagogues and koshers, butcheries in Tehran? Why is there even a Jewish hospital? If Iran's mission was truly the annihilation of all Jews, none of this could logically exist. The answer lies in understanding that politics and propaganda often twisted facts for emotional and strategic effect. Iran's hostility towards Israel is real and dangerous, but equating that with a genocidal campaign against Jews everywhere is inaccurate and counterproductive. It conflates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, which, whilst sometimes overlapping, are not the same. If nothing else, the presence of a thriving, albeit small, Jewish community inside Iran, and even some serving in the government capacities, forces us to rethink and nuance our assumptions. It challenges us to look beyond the slogans and dig deeper into the complexities of history, politics, and identity. In short, Iran's position is contradictory because the situation itself is more complex than simplistic narrative we often hear, and that complexity is worth acknowledging if we care about truth and justice for Jews, for Iranian, and peace itself. The contradiction should give everyone pause, whether you are Jewish, Muslim, Christian, atheist, or simply someone who values truth over propaganda. We cannot afford to let ourselves be manipulated by simplistic narratives that paint the entire people with one brushstrokes. Iran's rhetoric about Israel is undeniably dangerous, and its threat toward the state of Israel must be taken seriously. But equating those political hostilities with a global genocidal intent towards all Jews is not only factually wrong, it's intellectually lazy and morally irresponsible. Such exaggerations obscure the very real problems of anti-Semitism in the world that distract us from understanding the unique dynamics of the Middle East conflicts. Look deeper. 35,000 Jews live in Iran today. They worship in peace in their synagogues. They elect a representative to parliament. They run businesses, attend universities, and even in some cases work with the very same government that demonize as their own sworn enemies. Are they living in paradise? No. They live with challenges, as all religious minority do in authoritarian regimes. But their very existence protect and at all times integrated prove that Iran's conflict is not a universal declaration of war against Jew, but rather a bitter, tangled political fight with the state of Israel. It is vital that we, as citizens of the world, see through the fog of propaganda when we hear Iran wants to kill every Jew. We must ask ourselves, if that were truly the case, would there still be thousands of Jews living and worshipping inside Iran today? Would there still be a Jewish cemetery maintained, kosher meat sold, and synagogues active in Tehran? The truth matters, not because it clarifies the real nature of the conflict, but because it protects us from falling into the trap of demonizing entire peoples based on half-truth and inflammatory language. To my audience, do not allow yourself to be spoon-fed convenient lies by government media or even your own biases. Be willing to question, to research, to listen. Recognize that two things can be true at the same time. Iran can be serious threat to Israel, and yet not on a mission to kill every Jew on earth. If we truly care about peace, if we truly care about justice for Jews, for Palestinians, for Iranians, for everyone, then we owe ourselves to speak and think with honesty and nuance. Remember, truth is not always easy, but it's always necessary. Do not settle for comfortable narratives that absolve you of critical thinking and critical thought. Instead, confront reality in all its complexity, because that is where real understanding and real solutions begin. All of us are human beings. None is superior to the other, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Only the African. Have yourself a beautiful day.